I was going to try and put a hook here to ask an overarching question, maybe asking the big questions like, have you ever looked at your pile of money and thought, what if I had more? Or something like, with your back against the wall, do you think you could beat the odds and walk away with $1 million? But this is a short video that doesn't really need all of those deep questions. This video is going to tackle the main question of, if I only choose to shoot the dealer, how far can I go in Buckshot Roulette? This is also kind of like not a thrown together video, but this is definitely not a video that is going to have an ending. This is purely a thought experiment that I thought I should put out there and give some background, some information, some tips to see if you might want to try this for yourself. But all in all, this is basically just a video for me to gather data and see what everybody thinks. As the title of the video and the last question I said, I'm going to be playing the wonderful indie game of Buckshot Roulette. This is a simple game where two people play Russian roulette with a pump-action shotgun. I mean, it gets a little more detailed than that, but that's the gist of the game. To get in the weeds a little bit more and explain how the game mechanics work, there are two different types of shells. Red shells, which are live ammo. If you're at the wrong end of the gun when the trigger's pulled and the shell is in the chamber, you might not wake up tomorrow morning. But blue shells are blanks. When the trigger is pulled, you'll be met with a clicking sound instead of a bang sound. Another fun mechanic about blanks in this game is that if you are successful in pointing the gun at your own skull and pull the trigger, you get to take another turn if it's a blank. If it's not, gameplay progresses normally, but there's always that chance that you can get that free turn with the blank. However, this trick only works if you're the one who pulled the trigger. If the dealer decides to aim at you, pull, and gets it blank, turn is lost and play continues normally. Another little quirk about this game are the items that you get after every round of bullets. Not every round of gameplay, those are technically different. During this video, I just kind of use the word round. Most of the time, I am talking about rounds of bullets in the chamber. So if 3 bullets are put in, after those 3 bullets, a new round starts, even though it is still technically gameplay round 1 or 2 or something like that. It can get a little confusing, and I will try and put a little blip on the screen if it is something that's more than just as simple than me talking about a round of bullets, but that's kind of getting in the weeds. I just wanted to clarify it now because there might be someone talking about it in the comments. Speaking of items, I'll go over them quick, go over strategy later in the video to kind of not confuse the two because this is a relatively longish list. So first off, we have the cigarettes. They are simple, they heal 1 health. The next are pills. These are similar to the cigarettes, but instead of healing with 1, you have the chance to heal 2. But it's a 50-50. If you don't heal 2, you'll end up taking 1 point of damage. The third item is a can of beer. The only thing this does, aside from making this game a party, is you rack the next shell. So if there are 2 shells left in the gun, you drink a beer, you pump it, now there's only 1 shell left. Fourth are the handcuffs. This item negates the next turn of the person who it is used on. If you use it on the dealer, they'll lose their next turn when they're supposed to have it. So if you shoot yourself with a blank, you technically skip their turn, so the handcuffs don't take effect. But if you accidentally shoot them and it's a blank, then that turn is skipped and you play again, but then they get to take their turn after you. Like I was alluding to, the caveat with this item is you cannot use it more than once. So you use it, dealer loses a turn, you can't use it again your next turn. They are still technically handcuffed even though they will take their turn after you. Fifth is the handsaw. This one doubles the damage of the next shot. If there is a blank in the gun, nothing happens. This effect also cannot be stacked. You can't stack 3 handsaws and fire for 6, 8, or 12 damage. I can't do math, I'm sorry. But you can't stack damage. It only doubles once, and then it gets reverted back to 1, so if you had another turn, you cut it off and then you can shoot it again for another double. The sixth item is the magnifying glass. This item allows you to see what the next shell is going to be. Another item similarly is the burner phone. This phone whispers the future of 1 shell in the gun. It can either be a blank or a live round, and it can be anywhere in the gun. When I was playing, I did not experience it to be shell 1, 2, or 3. It was more so in the middle, so it could be like 4 or 5, technically 3. I don't think I experienced it, but it's usually somewhere in the middle or towards the end of the gun's chamber. It's rarely in the front because that's what the magnifying glass is for. Two more items to mention before we can get to the challenge. We have the inverter and the adrenaline stick. I call the adrenaline stick an EpiPen because it's faster and I think it sounds cooler, but the official name is technically adrenaline stick. For the inverter, it changes the type of shell currently in the gun. If it's a blank, you'll change it to a live round. If it's a live round, you'll change it to a blank. While the EpiPen allows you to steal an item from the opponent. Now the preamble is almost done. Just one more quick thing before I talk about the challenge itself. In order to do the double or nothing mode that I'm doing for this challenge, you need to complete the main story of the game. It took me maybe 15 minutes max to complete it, so it shouldn't be too difficult. In this double or nothing mode, you have 3 gameplay rounds. After completing 3 rounds, you get the chance to walk away with your winnings or risk it all going through another 3 rounds, double or nothing. This can be repeated as often as you want, and because it constantly repeats, I thought it was a good way to test how far this rule set can take me in the game. Finally, with this type of challenge, there's no, quote, winning or finishing this challenge. It's purely for data and trying to see just how far I can get with this rule set. I also only played 5 games total, some ended a lot quicker than the others, but just for statistical reasons, I figure you can take the averages for this and kind of extrapolate from there. It's not anything really important or cool, just something I thought of. Good? Good. Now, like I said earlier, this video is just me talking about the challenge. I'm going to be talking and there's going to be the gameplay in the background. I'm going to probably have it sped up and then have some jams playing in the background and have that game audio muted, purely just so you can kind of see what's happening. But there's really not too much going on here. It's going to be basically not a lot of effects, and it's going to be a lot of me just talking like a docuseries. It's also not going to be a very long video, hopefully. So it's just going to be kind of something you can put on in the background. I am reading currently off of a script. I will mostly be talking about items, tips, combos, all of that kind of thing. So I might go off script a little bit, but it's just basically I put all of my thoughts down on here and I'm just going to ramble at this point. This is your final warning. This is basically just going to be a podcast at this point with something going on in the background. So if you have better things to do with your day, feel free. I will catch you in the next video. If you want to kind of hear how this works, I don't talk too much about the game itself, just kind of what I found out, because you can only really do so much in this game. But it's basically the tips, the combos, the tricks that I figured out for this type of challenge. You can theoretically use these tips and tricks to help your game if you're not playing this way. But for this challenge specifically, if you can only target the dealer, even if it's not optimal, this is what would happen. Okay? If you are still sticking around, I hope you are as invested as I am. Aw, man, that sounds so cringy. Okay. I probably mentioned this in the intro of the video, but with this being a challenge where I can only attempt to shoot the dealer, I'm gonna miss out on the free turn skips that shooting myself with a blank would come with. So no matter what I do, if there's a blank in the chamber, and I know that, I'm basically wasting my turn, and I can't really control that, which kind of sucks, because in the off chance that we're given a 50-50, and the only available items I have allow me to look at the next round, but not affect it in any way, it means that if I know I'm going to lose the round, I still have to sit there and wait for the inevitable in the off chance that the dealer is dumb. We just got done talking about items, so I'm going to go over a few of the combos I concocted. There is an instant win strategy, but only if you start out with 2 health, because at the start of every gameplay round, you either get 2, 3, or 4 bits of health for the challenge. Now, if you remember, the handsaw doubles damage, and you start every round as the first shooter. So if you know that that next bullet is a live round, you can cut off the head and then shoot the dealer. That works most of the time. There are times where you have no way to change the outcome of the bullet, and it just happens to be a blank, and the dealer has a sawed-off, has a handsaw, and shoots you for 2, and it's an instant loss. That has happened to me at least once in this challenge. But another fun segue, because I'm great at those. On the topic of your health, as mentioned before, you get to start out with 2, 3, or 4 health points. But what I didn't mention is that you can't go above that initial limit. So if you start with 2, you can't increase that to 3 with the cigarettes or the pills. Now, talking about the cigarettes or the pills, this is going to be a lot of just ADHD mind temple running. So I'm going to go off topic, off script, on script, just be prepared. So you have your cigarettes and you have the pills. Use the cigarettes whenever you can if you're running out on health, or if the dealer has an EpiPen and can steal your cigarettes to bring him back from almost death, use it then. Only use the pills if you have 2 or more health and you can go up by more. Because if you have 1 health and you lose that coin flip, you are losing that game. It sucks. I think I did it once. It was an accident. But if you have the ability to heal, always use your cigarettes. You can use your cigarettes both defensively and offensively, unlike the handsaw where you can only use it offensively. The pills are very situational. I started using them because I'm like, oh man, 2 free heals. Yeah, I stopped using them at the end and just hoped that I didn't fill up my item spaces with them before we got to the next round where where the items reset and I could keep going. Speaking of resetting items, I don't think I talked about that yet. At the start of every new gameplay round, except for when you're hitting that double or nothing button, all of your items refresh. So you lose all of your banked items for gameplay round 2, and then gameplay round 3, you get a new batch of items, which is very good because you could have too many things that you can't use, and the dealer has a lot of really good stuff, and then you both start out with a clean slate. You get a different amount of items every time. I think it can go anywhere from 2 to 5 or 2 to 4 items per round. And then the dealer gets the same number, but you each get different items. It's not the same per person. Now, we talked about item numbers. Let's talk about a few other combos that I figured out while doing this part of the challenge. You should only use the cell phone when there are more than 2 shells in the gun. Otherwise, it can be a slight waste, because if you have a 50-50 and you have no way of seeing it, just shoot the dealer. There's really nothing you can do. Just go for the shot. Hopefully your coin flip comes up on heads. On the contrary, if it is a 50-50 and you have not only a magnifying glass, but you also have an inverter, that is perfect, because if you check and it is a blank, then you invert it to make it a live round, and then you shoot. What's even better is if you have the handcuffs, because then you theoretically can get off 4 points of damage if you have the right items, or at minimum, you get off 2 points of damage. Handcuffs are very good in 50-50 situations because it immediately brings back the next round of ammo and you get more items. So if there is only two shells in the gun, go for the handcuffs, because then you get more items, unless you need to build up your health or you want to steal the dealer's items, because if the dealer has handcuffs and you have the EpiPen, but you also have a set of handcuffs, use the EpiPen, because you don't want the dealer using the item against you. Speaking of the EpiPen, you can use that, like the cigarettes, both offensively and defensively. Do you need an extra item to make your plan come into fruition? Perfect. Use the EpiPen, steal it, and use it. Does the dealer have cigarettes? Are you at full health, but you don't want the dealer to gain 1 more health because there's 3 live rounds left in the gun and you get 1 more chance? Steal their cigarettes so they don't get that. The EpiPen is very situational, but can make everything so much better if you can pull it off. So I know I've been talking a lot about 50-50s, and that is 50% live rounds, 50% blank rounds. Because at minimum, you get 1 live, 1 blank. I think at maximum, there are 8 shells in the gun. So theoretically, you could get 1 live round and 7 blanks, or you could get the inverse. What I did to keep track was I had 2 6-sided die on either side, and I always said, all right, there are 3 live rounds and 4 blanks in this gun. And then every time the trigger was pulled, I would move the die to keep track of what was going on. I also had a third D6 to keep track of the burner phone that I used to tell me if it was a blank or a live round, and that one was constantly changing every time a bullet was fired. That being said, there are times where it is not 50-50 and it is more skewed into one direction of it being a live round or it being a blank. So use your best judgment on what kind of strategy, if you think it's gonna be a blank, use the items to make that an offensive blank, or just try and skip that shell as much as possible. But if it is a live round, do your best to get that shot off and then make it as powerful as possible, right? There's nothing you can really do in this challenge because it's all luck based. You can't, I'm gonna go back to it because it just makes sense. This is not a, oh man, how much money and how many rounds can you survive? This is a, how long can you do it when you can't take advantage of the turn skips by shooting yourself with a blank? All of this to say, I'm kind of wrapping it up here because I'm just rambling at this point. I have some stats to talk about after this, but all of this to say, theoretically, in a perfect world, you can get infinite rounds, right? You can get infinite money, but this is a game of probability. I don't think this game cheats for you. I don't think this game cheats against you. I haven't done any research. I haven't done enough looking into what's going on to verify this, but I am pretty sure that this is all just a numbers game, and theoretically, you can 100% win all the time, every time, not taking a single point of damage, getting all of the perfect items you need, but that is unlikely. Just a quick look at my notes here. The first round, or the first game that I did, attempt number 1, I made it to round 5. Attempt number 2 made it 1 round. Attempt number 3 made it 3 rounds. So, and then attempt number 4 made it 6 rounds. So it's something, it's all probability and statistics. This is basically just a thought experiment, like I said before, and this is not really like an important video. I just wanted to see kind of what the data would say, and I'm going to do this for future videos too, just random little data bits that I think are exciting, and I'll throw this up in a video, or a video that just kind of gets a bunch of data information. I'm just talking at this point. But this is not a normal video. The next one will be, but if you guys want more videos like this, where I just kind of, I don't dive into data, I don't do a lot of statistics, I just kind of test things and see kind of what the stats and not probability, but just the stats. If you guys want, I didn't keep track of too much, just attempts. I didn't keep track of the numbers because on average I made it about 5 gameplay rounds per game. So theoretically, I could have called it quits after 3, gotten my quote internet money, because the money doesn't do anything in this game. It just shows you how much you've done, and then you just reset and keep going. So theoretically, you can make it through an entire 3-round game every time. But if you guys want more videos like this, where I just kind of do a little deep dive, let the gameplay play in the background, maybe throw up some graphics, talk about statistics and math, let me know, because I'm interested. There are probably games that I'm not aware of that could be interesting for videos and stuff. I don't have any good bits for this part, but yeah, thank you for enjoying the ramblings on this little statistical check for Buckshot Roulette. If you like this kind of content and want to check out some of my actual challenge videos that have like a conclusion and kind of a funny little plot that I make up, there should be a playlist popping up on your screen. Check that out. Maybe if you want to suggest a game, there should be a link down in the description that says, hey, I want you to do this kind of game for this kind of challenge. Can't guarantee I'll get to it. It might be months or a year after I see that and I'm like, oh man, that should be cool. It is just me. I work a full-time job, and this is technically a side hobby. So it's fun. I do what I can. It just takes me a long time because life happens and it doesn't pop out. I can't just give this to an editor because I'm the editor. But I hope you've had a wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed this random jaunt through Buckshot Roulette. And if you've done something like this before or want to do something like this, let me know what happens, like what you find out. Let me know the situation, because I'm really intrigued on what you guys have found out and if you've gotten further than round 6, because I'm pretty sure that's the farthest I got in this game. Round 6 doing this kind of challenge. I could have gotten further if I knew what if I could shoot and like blank myself and skip turns, but that's neither here nor there. This was just a thought experiment. I'm gonna end this video. Thank you so much for watching. I've been River. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.